Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Tuesday. This is Devils After Dark, coming to you live from the bunker. Inside the bunker. I'm all discombobulated right now, Vinnie.
I was about to imitate a scene from Star Wars where he goes, so who talks first? I talk first, you talk first?
I don't know. I'm watching the Penn State Notre Dame game right now. The controls are a little bit different. Yeah, there's a lot of different things going on with Devils After Dark tonight, but we're coming to you live from the Primetime Radio studios inside the bunker in an undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey and somewhere in Chicago, Illinois. Is that where you're at, Vinny?
Correct.
Your bunker? That's a true bunker. That's a true bunker. Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah, well, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. As the Devils gain a point, but lose to the New York Rangers tonight at Madison Square Garden, 3-2 in overtime. I see some of the comments from Max in the YouTube Live saying, hey, it could be jet lag. I think it was jet lag. I mean, this is the first time the Devils have played out in the East Coast in 2025.
Yeah, that is true. It wasn't a good. I hated the game mostly.
Yeah.
Even though they led for like a lot of it, I still hated it because it was clearly. And you can't make excuses in the NHL. There are no excuses. Everybody gets paid. Everybody gets a lot of money. So, like, you can criticize the Devils for the way they played in this game, although they got a point, although they led for a lot of it, although they gave up 0 goals at 5-on-5, which I do think is ultimately the most important thing in hockey. If, special teams, they fluctuate, right? The Rangers' power play isn't going to score, every single time they face you in every game you play them. You're not going to be that poor shorthanded. The Rangers' penalty kill tonight was outstanding, and they've been horrible lately. So that just goes to show even more ebbs and flows to hockey. But for the most part, you could tell it was the 5th game of a long road trip that didn't go their way in a lot of ways. They only got 3 points out of a possible 10. And it's just... It was a no good, bad game that they managed to get a point because Jack Hughes is ridiculous and Jacob Markstrom is a top 5 goalie in the league right now. So, you take the point, run with it, get out of there, and get ready to come back home and play some hockey over the weekend at The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, this game meant more to the Rangers fans than Devils fans at this point. The Rangers fans are looking for something to hold on to. Maybe there'll be a spark. I mean, Igor Shesterkin starting for the first time in a while. Same with Matt Rempe, serving his 8-game suspension, coming back today. Again, Devils coming back from the West Coast. But, yeah, Jacob Markstrom basically got them a point, just like how he got them 2 points in regulation over the Seattle Kraken. It's nice to see that Markstrom, I mean, he is an elite goalie. You talk about top 5, Vinny, I think he's in the top 3 right now.
Right now, absolutely.
I think
no doubt.
right now,
yes.
The way he's playing.
Absolutely.
Like if there was power rankings for goalies, he might be at number 1.
I would put him 2. Right, I would put him at 2 right now.
Yeah.
Hellebuck is the best goalie in the NHL. He's the reigning Vezina Trophy candidate, and he leads the league in wins, shutouts, goals against, and save percentage. Hard to argue with that. He's 2 right now. For a while, he was 3, Linus Ullmark, but Linus Ullmark's been hurt. Markstrom, number 2 right now. He will be Team Sweden starter come the Four Nations face-off if he keeps playing like this. No doubt in my mind.
And I'll tell you, I saw a lot of good things in this game. I just think by the third period, again, one thing I didn't like, I'll tell you. I know we're bouncing all over the place, and normally we do the the recap and all that, but you know, one thing I didn't like was how close the Rangers got to Markstrom. And there was a sequence in the third period that I forgot who, but Cotter held back one of the Rangers players. I didn't even get the name on that. I don't know if you remember that play where Markstrom's like right in the guy's face. There was a scrum. And then you look at the replay. You know, I know you don't want to cost the team. You don't want to lose the game by a dumb penalty, but you got to take care of that guy that hit Markstrom. Even though it was a light tap, Markstrom was pissed. You got to take care of him. You got to protect your goalie. You got to be territorial when it comes to your goaltender. I love Paul Cotter, but he should have just dropped the gloves at that point. You know, you have to send a message. And the Rangers weren't scared afterwards. They went hard to the net. You know, if they got the chance. You want them to pay the price. And Markstrom, you know, I love a feisty goaltender. You know, he's trying to defend his crease. And so should the New Jersey Devils. I was kind of surprised there because they had the right guys out there at that moment. But, you know, again, no harm, no foul. The play continues, or the face-off. That was the end of it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, things like that, they make me wonder about the team, like, for the rest of the season. Like, I don't by any means think they're gonna like choke away their, you know, playoff spot, or they have like a 14-point lead. Like, they're fine. But you know, when you get to the playoffs, you got to win special teams battles. You got to be tough. You got to be hard to play against. There is no 3-on-3 overtime in the playoffs, which is nice. And on Game Day Live, I talked about how great I think the Devils are in overtimes. That was terrible. Like Jack Hughes, who comes to play in these Ranger games, and he's awesome against the Rangers. He was horrible in overtime. I mean, turning the puck, and I get it. You're trying to create offense. You're trying to take advantage of that open ice. It happens, but I have my concerns with this road trip. But then again, I think about what was going on in my brain before this road trip when it came to the Devils. So, yeah, I have a hard time processing where I'm at with this team right now. I'm happy they got a point. But we'll see how it goes now that they come home. It's an important wave of games coming up here.
Yeah, and you know what? I used to call Jack Hughes Mr. Turnover for many reasons. And look, when Jack Hughes started the season, he wasn't scoring any points this season. Right in the beginning, if you remember. And we're like, don't worry about it. Jack will be Jack. And Jack was back. I loved the mistake-free Jack more than I love taking risks and try to win the game at all costs, Jack. I think he cost him the game, especially with that play. There were a lot of dangerous passes that Jack was making tonight. And even, I think Danico even commented when I think he passed the puck right in top of the crease in traffic, you know, to someone on top of the crease. I forgot who it was. If you want to win hockey games, and great hockey players like Jack Hughes, if Jack Hughes wants to turn elite, he's got to be a complete player. I understand, like, what you're saying, like, you take risks, but the best players know when to take risks.
Yep.
In that moment, that was the worst time to take a risk because you have nobody to help you if it did not work. And I think he needs to stop making those type of plays. That's just one of many that we saw tonight.
100%. And we've seen Jack be smart in the past, and what he does in overtime, Even in regulation, because there were some turnovers in regulation too. It's not just an overtime thing. But for as good, you kind of touched on it, like for as good as he is against the Rangers, he's also like, sometimes you're like, I think Nick tweeted it from the Pucks and Pitchforks account, like, you also need to like control. Like, we know you want to beat the Rangers. Like, you've been great. Pick and choose your spots. Um,
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know. I know where this team would be without him, so I have a very, very difficult time piling on him because of like one turnover and overtime. Because I do believe like he doesn't play here, they're terrible. I don't know about terrible, but they're not. He elevates them in ways that very few players in the league can, and I'm thankful for that. But I do think in order to win the Stanley Cup, like you said, you you need to channel your inner Nico Hischier a little bit, who sacrifices a ton of offense. Because I know the skill is there for Hischier to have 100 points if he wants every single season. But he plays the game hard in all three zones. He's always cohesive with his teammates. I don't like that he became a penalty guy on this road trip all of a sudden. He had 2 penalty minutes on Christmas Day. And he's taken a penalty, I think, in every single game of this road trip, maybe all but one. I mean, he's sure the enforcer. Like, what's going on here?
Hmm.
But I don't know. This game, it'll leave a sour taste, but like you're happy that they got a point at the end of the day. That's kind of how I think you go about it when you're a playoff team. Like lose in overtime, I guess, if you're gonna lose. Um, yeah, we'll see how they respond going forward, though. It's a tough stretch, though. Got some good games coming up against teams like the Lightning, the Panthers, the Leafs, who
Yeah.
they've beaten all of them this season. We'll see how it goes.
I like Dubs is like comment. Keefe must get on Jack for all that. The team needs a responsible Jack. 200 feet needs much more situational awareness, relying too much on skill and not on hockey sense. Yeah, I'm going to add to that because I was going to say something about that. You got to hold Jack Hughes accountable. I'm wondering, I always felt that, and again, I have no proof of this, but I always felt that Jack always walked over Lindy Ruff.
Yeah.
The Jack, like it just seemed like Jack could do no wrong. Of course, he's first overall pick, part of a family dynasty in the making. Has a lot to say on the team. Here with the Devils long term. How do you hold Jack Hughes accountable? And I think Sheldon Keefe has to do that. That.
Sheldon Keefe got guys like Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and Mitch Marner to buy into a way of playing that led to them being an elite team for a very long time. And they have carried a lot of those habits on into this year. In my opinion, I think the Leafs are one of the best teams in the league. If they won, I don't buy any curses or anything like that. When your time comes, your time comes. And, we've seen way too many cursed teams win in the last 10 years for me to really buy into that. I mean, the Cubs won the World Series, and the Rams won the Super Bowl, and the Capitals won the Stanley Cup. Like, the Leafs, they got a good recipe, and Shelf helped develop a lot of that. It was his time to leave because they kept losing to the Bruins in the first round. That happens. But now that he's on the Devils, he's kind of got to redo it a little bit. He sure was always bought into a two-way style. But,
Yeah.
Jack and Bratt have been amazing penalty killers this season. It didn't show tonight against the Rangers, who desperately needed a win against the Devils, like you mentioned, going down 3-0 to the Devils. That would have been a tragedy as far as the Rangers were concerned. The fact that they're 1-2-0 against them probably still irks them. But, I mean, you move forward. You hope that Keefe can really kind of show him some tape, show him some stuff about this game. Like, hey, we play a certain way. He had 2 points in this game. He's top 10 in scoring. He's one of the best players in the NHL. There's another level he can get to, and the Devils will rise to the top even further once he does.
The Devils will win the Stanley Cup when Jack Hughes figures out how to be a two-way player, a complete player. Otherwise, if he's just kind of like, one-dimensional in terms of offense, I think it'll be a lot harder to win the Stanley Cup. But if Jack Hughes, who, it's what Tom says, he's like, OMG, people relax. We panic too much as fans. But Tom was saying in the YouTube Live that, he has improved defensively this season. And, he spent some time on the penalty kill. And you want Jack Hughes to be a leader of this team. You want Jack Hughes to be the face of the team. And also you want Jack Hughes to just lead by example and play both ways, essentially. And I hate to say it, but there are times where he is a liability on the ice. And that can't be good. I like to see Jack Hughes do well, even strength, and be a solid plus with the plus-minus rating. But at this point, I know it's just one loss, but man, did I see about a dozen plays where he just takes too many risks.
Well, there's the 2-on-0 that the Rangers had on the power or penalty kill too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was egregious by 86. And, those are types of things that, sometimes you do just have like, so he is lackadaisical defensively sometimes. We are all well aware of that. Because he very much is in this league to generate offense. He's not going to win the Selke trophy. He probably will never even get votes in his career. We don't need that. But I do think over time he'll have better situational awareness. Today, but the point I was getting to, think today is that on another level. He had a bad night in that area. Because again, he had 2 points. I saw someone tweet, Jack Hughes had a great and terrible night. And that's just the way to describe it, and it cost him in overtime. If that pass that was intercepted and went the other way 2-on-1 finds Bratt, and he snipes it, then Jack Hughes looks like a G, right? He's the hero. So, like you said, he takes a lot of risks. There will be times where he's smarter with it. You watch some of the other stars in the league, right? Connor McDavid very rarely he's to the point now where that stuff really just doesn't happen to him in overtime anymore, or with open ice or on the power play. But there was a time where it did. Now, Jack Hughes has good speed. I do think Jack Hughes has good speed, but he doesn't have like Connor McDavid speed. So it's kind of apples to oranges in that way. But I'm rambling at this point. If they hadn't lost however many games in a row before the Kraken win, I don't think we'd be overall discussing the Devils losing in overtime to the Rangers the way that we are, because there are some warts that clearly need to be addressed.
Absolutely. At the same time, the officiating, when
what was that call on McDermott?
I don't know.
He was Lindgren. He barely touched him. And I know if I would have tweeted like a diving gif and hash New York's Day, they all would have came on Twitter and called me fat and told me I don't know anything. No hockey discussion whatsoever, which I think is funny a lot of the time. I just wasn't in the mood for it today. Like, that was terrible. Like, what are you doing?
To tell you the truth, when I saw that play, I'm like, really? I thought it was the other way around. I wasn't sure. I don't know. So, Max says, it's my fault. He didn't have the Rangers suck sign out. It's actually sitting down here. It's actually down here.
You too? But you weren't on camera. You weren't on camera. But, I mean, no, you got to have that up.
Yeah.
Even when you're not,
I'll just stay like this I'm going to stay like this for the rest of but the Rangers suck.
Why did I not know that was signed, though? Is that Elias?
Yeah. Yes.
Pandolfo?
No, that is Elias Zubris.
Oh, Zubris. That was 8.
Yeah.
Who's 16? Trying to think of who was 16. I
No,
thought the
no,
8 was.
16. I thought 16 was Zubris.
No, I thought Zubris was 8.
I thought he had 2 numbers. Did he have 2 numbers?
It might have been. He might have.
I don't remember.
Dinas Zubris. He was one of my favorites in NHL because he was a left-handed shot. He did wear 16 with the Devils for one season.
Who was number 2?
I know Zhidlitsky was 2, but he only played for the Devils for
no. This
100 games.
This thing is old, man. This
Yeah,
thing is-
you got it in
before-
07, 08.
Yeah.
Because that's the 1 year he wore 16, talking about Zubris. But who was 2? And John Moore, I think, was 2, but that's way after frickin' Zhidlitsky even.
Who was number 2 back then?
Who
I
was-
had to be the D guy.
Yeah, I would think so. But here, I'm going to look up who has worn number 2.
Maybe
in
Sean
New Jersey.
Brown? I'm going way back.
Yeah, Sean Brown might be before that time. No? All right, I got a full list. 28 players in the history of the New Jersey Devils have ever worn number 2.
Maybe Mark Frazier or Sean Brown?
Is that Vitaly Vishnevsky?
No, definitely not.
Is it Dan McGillis?
No, I didn't like him.
I mean, were all three of those different times, like signed at different points?
I think they were signed at South Mountain Arena, believe it or not.
At the same time?
Yeah.
Sheldon Brookbank?
I don't know. Now you got me guessing. Here, I'll
From 06 to now, Vladimir Malikov, Dan McGillis, Vitaly Vishnevsky, Sheldon Brookbank, Mark Frazier, Curtis Foster, Marek Zhidlitsky, John Moore, Eric Gryba, Colton White. I forgot Eric Gryba came to the Devils for a year. Colton White, Brennan Smith.
Vladimir Malikov?
Yeah, that could. Yeah, he wore 2. He wore 2 in 2006.
I don't remember. I remember Zubris laughing at it. Elias
That's
just
very
signed
funny.
anything. Yeah. Elias was like, all right, stupid fan. Here, I'll just.
Yeah, Elias, him and his European stuff, he was probably like, yeah, okay, screw the Rangers.
I think I tried to get Lou to sign it, but he wouldn't. I think.
Because he knew there was a chance he'd be their GM one day. He ended up with the Islanders. He's like,
that's funny.
my time eventually is going to run out here. I've been the GM for 30 years. So eventually they're going to kick me out. And they did.
Alex Brooks?
Alex Brooks did not wear number 2.
No. David Hale.
Yep. David Hale wore number 2.
That must have
From
been him.
06, 07.
Because he was 25, I think, at first. David Hale. But David Hale, yeah, it must have been David Hale.
Correct.
Yeah.
He was 25. He was 2. And then the next 3 teams he played for, Calgary, Phoenix, and Tampa, he was 21.
Yeah, back in the day, like everyone went to Brodeur, they went to Scott Stevens.
Yeah, of course.
Whatever. Scott Niedermeyer went to the kids. He made a point to autograph the kids. So, you know what I did? I brought my little sister. And she's like, yeah, his name is Scott. But then somehow she got the wrong Scott. She actually got Scott Clemenson to sign. She's like, I like Scott. The other Scott's mean. But really, Niedermeyer was just bombarded. That's all.
That's very funny. I mean, most guys at that point in their life like use little kids to like try and score a chick at the supermarket. Here's Sam. He just uses like the little kids in his family to like get Devils autographs. I love it. That's my favorite story.
Well, I'm not that sleazy because I don't resell it. It's just more like, there's a difference between using
that makes it funnier. That makes it funnier. That's why. Yeah. Like if you were using it to sell, it'd be like just a typical scumbag guy move.
Yeah.
But like, you want the autograph because you love Scott Niedermayer. He's a legend. So, yeah.
Yeah, he just did kids, and it's just, oh, my goodness.
That's funny.
Well, Vinny, I think it's time to cut the cord on the show.
I mean, football game to catch.
Yeah, we got a football game. I'm looking at the score. I'm just going nuts right now. So,
totally.
Also, Scotty had the night off tonight for obvious reasons. Scotty's okay. You just want to let everybody know Scotty is okay, but it's a very scary moment out there, out in L.A. As I addressed yesterday on the State of the Fan address. We're praying for you, Scotty. We're always in contact with them. We try to humor him during this time, but we miss you. And Vinny, thank you for filling in for Scotty for Devils After Dark. Stuff out in Los Angeles is very real, and just seeing the pictures and videos that Scotty's sent us in a group text, it's very humbling. So
absolutely,
never take
my
anything
thoughts and
for
prayers.
granted. Yeah, absolutely, and you have to be on alert right now when you live out there, and we were not going to take any chances. Absolutely,
sure.
Not.
Yeah.
So, but all right. Well, I'm going to hit the music, Vinny. We're gonna get out of here. Yep, there it is. Oh well, we got another game. Devils Lightning. We'll come back on Saturday. Yeah, baby. Well, Devils losing 3-2 tonight in overtime to the Rangers. Big whoop. They're going to start a new streak again. At home at the Rock.
Last time you played the Lightning and the Panthers back-to-back, you smoked them both. Go do it again.
Exactly. As what Wimpy says, horns up, Scotty. Horns up for Scotty. Till next time, let's go Devils.